I'd like to move to in the same thematic, but an artist I know very well, whom I consider a dear, dear, dear friend, is Patrick Seruwu. Now, he's also working in terms of Black portraiture, right? But it's a very different technique. So what's happening over here, these works are much more, I find them exceptionally beautiful, by the way, as portraits go, and as a technique that he has mastered. Because what is going on in these, you see, remember you using the loose line when we noticed earlier on over there? The technique continues, which is very much a part of modern expressionism. He integrates that, the rough movement, the allowance of free form is crucial to the work. But at the same time, what's happening is here we're dealing and exploring the idea of what is a Black soul. Now we have the word soul repeated as the core to the title of this exhibition. And what I find very intriguing about Patrick's work is that for me, he has an uncanny ability to connect to the human soul. So he's not just creating a type, a portrait, a person. One senses, because the artist's life is merged in the making of the work. And if you actually meet the actual painter himself, an extremely gentle person. And with zero psychopathy. Where is Patrick from again, Mani?
Uganda.
Uganda. The reason I'm bringing it.
Oh, yeah, it's here.
I didn't see. No, the thing is, so you get a zero sense of psychopathy. There's no sense of historical burden. There's no sense of anger. There's no sense of rage. There's no sense of despair. There is only insofar as all human beings, suffer despair, are the victims of time. But what you're getting here is a sense simply of the dignity of being and the soulfulness of being and the perfect inhabitation of it, which is, again, what I said earlier about that work, is immensely restful. One can sit in front of that artwork over there, year in and year out, and whatever troubles you have, whatever stresses and anger and outrage, or if your money's been stolen from your bank account, whatever you're going through, you'll sit down, you look at that work, and it'll create this incredible sense of calm. But the calm is not simply about a blithe ease, it's about an inner contemplation. Because the thing is, his figures, they gaze at you but not. So therefore, there's no direct gaze, unlike the one over there. So basically, it gives you the room to live in the space without looking you're being looked at. No, you're in that space, and you're living in that world. You're co-inhabiting that space together. And I think in that space, there's a certain kind of spiritual fusion that happens, and the connection, a sense of well-being. Whatever the time in history, whenever, this could be 50 years from now, 50 years before, 100 years before, 100 years from now, this emotion won't have changed. And that's the remarkable thing, because it's not. So this is what you call untimely art that's ahistorical. It's defined by history insofar as this is big. It's boom time for Black portraiture. Okay, so it's definitely defined in that regard. But is this not? One doesn't feel when one looks at Patrick's work. He says, "Aha! Okay, now I can basically sell Black portraits, make a buck out of it." Because there's a lot of that cynicism in the world. He's not doing that. He's basically talking about how within that engine room to create a sense of honesty, dignity, integrity as an art practitioner, as a human being, and creating spaces of communion in the world. That's why he's always had this feeling. I always feel enormously at peace, enormously calm whenever I'm in the midst of Patrick's paintings, no matter how visceral and seemingly violent and intemperate the technique might be. Because this is life. Living in 2023, it's chaos. So, so he's not trying to give you complete ease. But in the middle of the chaos, there's a sense of a placid, iconic calm. Now, who's been to the Uffizi in Florence? The Uffizi is basically the major gallery of Renaissance art. Now, the thing is, Patrick's work would fit in very well in that space because it's iconic. It's mother and child, it's Madonnas, it's saints with halos, it's all of that religious art of that time dominates. But you could put this work in the middle of that and people have exactly the same experience. There's no halo in his head, but the point of the matter is you can feel the religiosity, and the religiosity in the most open-ended sense. He is not assigning faith a specific name, but he's allowing for the importance of faith in one's life and how one inhabits and sees the world. This is what you were talking about, the restorative power of art, which you discovered when you have those artworks in your wall. This is what happens, this is what happens. It just catches you unawares and suddenly you're hooked. So he's got that feeling.